Have you ever finished an episode of an anime and realized you didn't care at all about the hero's big power-up, but you'd follow the guy in the background into battle without a second thought? It's one of the most fascinating glitches in storytelling. The moment a side character becomes so compelling, so complex, and so inherently cool that they accidentally hijack the entire series. We see it everywhere, from the stoic mentors to the tragic rivals, and it leaves us asking a weirdly uncomfortable question. Why is the guy whose name isn't on the cover of the manga often the most interesting part of the story? To understand this, we have to talk about what I like to call the Protagonist Curse. Most main characters are designed to be a blank slate or a moral compass. They have to be relatable to as many people as possible, which often means they're a bit, well, predictable. They want to be the Pirate King, the Hokage, or the Wizard King, and we know they'll probably get there. But side characters? They don't have those narrative shackles. They're allowed to be flawed, they're allowed to be weird, and most importantly, they're allowed to fail in ways that the protagonist never can. Take Rock Lee, for example. During the Chunin exams, when Lee dropped those leg weights against Gaara, the entire anime world held its breath. In that moment, Naruto was just a kid with a loud mouth and a fox demon. But Lee was the embodiment of the human spirit. He was the guy who had nothing but hard work, and for those few episodes, he was the true protagonist of Naruto. We weren't rooting for a chosen one anymore, we were rooting for the underdog who wasn't supposed to win. Even though he lost that fight, his story resonated deeper than almost any other arc in the early series because his struggle felt real. Then you have characters like Levi Ackerman or Satoru Gojo, the overpowered mentor types, who exist to show us the peak of what's possible in their respective worlds. These characters often outshine the main cast because they represent a level of competence that the protagonist is still struggling to find. Every time Levi enters a scene, the tension shifts. You aren't just watching a fight, you're watching a force of nature. It's why fans often joke that Attack on Titan is actually Levi and his traumatized students. When a side character is given a level of competence that dwarfs the hero, our eyes naturally gravitate toward them. We want to know their backstory, their secrets, and how they became the monsters they are. But it's not always about power. Sometimes a side character outshines the lead because they carry the emotional weight of the series. Have you ever noticed how side characters often get the best deaths too? Because the protagonist has to survive until the end, their death scenes are usually fake-outs or temporary. But when a beloved side character goes down, it sticks. It changes the world forever. Look at characters like Rengoku from Demon Slayer or Nanami from Jujutsu Kaisen. They were only in our lives for a short time, yet their impact was so massive that they defined the stakes for the entire series. Nanami, with his 7-to-3 ratio and his world-weary corporate attitude, felt like a real person in a world of sorcery. When he left, it felt like the series lost its anchor. There's also the Vegeta syndrome, where the rival is so much more interesting than the hero because they actually have to change. Goku starts the series as a pure-hearted fighting genius and ends the series as a pure-hearted fighting genius. But Vegeta? He goes from a genocidal prince to a father who sacrifices himself for a planet he once tried to destroy. We love side characters because we get to watch them evolve in ways that would be too risky for a main character.